5/19/25. I want to make a motion to call to order. Excuse me, lost my train of thought there. Motion to open this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The public should be advised that the select board meeting is being recorded and is being shown live on Marshfield Community Media. Persons may attend in person or watch live on Marshfield Community Television may participate by logging in on Zoom, link posted on the agenda. There is a call-in option and an unmute and mute. Calls may use *6 to unmute and mute in regards to that. While it is permissible for people to tape this meeting, is anyone recording this meeting, I ask to inform the select board at this point. Please stand as you're able to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so the first order that the select board needs to get into is going into executive session, so I will take to have a vote to go into executive session. Do I have a motion for a vote to go into executive session?
Should, Mr. Kelly, you should do the full motion that I prepared for you, because there's some specific purposes. Right at the bottom.
Oh, all right, number 5. I move that the select board to enter an executive session for the purpose of discussing strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation where an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to wit, Marshfield DPW union agreements, and further to vote to enter executive session to approve executive session minutes April 14, 2025, and May 12, 2025, and to enter open session at the conclusion of the executive session. Chair declares that an open session would have a detrimental effect on the collective bargaining or litigation position of the town. So a roll call vote. Do I have a vote to go into executive session?
Yep. Jenna Gillis could call the roll for you, so when you're doing those roll call votes, we get it clear that it was a roll call vote if you want her to do it.
All right, that's the way to do it. Let's do it.
Jenna, can you call that roll?
Sure.
Yep.
I'll grab a mic.
Oh, you want?
Mr. Kelly,
Aye.
Mr. Darcy,
Aye.
and Ms. Simpson.
Aye.
And you can take any of the action items until you get to 6:35.
Okay, so the chair's comments, I just want to remind everybody that May 26th, I believe at 10 o'clock a.m., excuse me, is the Memorial Day Parade, starting at Library Plaza, and I believe it's ending at the Town Hall Green. So I wish everybody would, in town, hopefully come out and support all the veterans and everybody in the parade. And there's been, I'm sure the public has been, or some people in the public have been hearing about a potential meeting for this Thursday in regards to the playgrounds. It seems that there was been things going on that won't make it possible. So I think, unfortunately, I would like to still have the meeting, but in regards to some key personnel that should be involved that either can't make it or want to push off on it, that I will hold off on calling for that meeting. I just want to state that I and Trish and Steve were open to having this meeting this Thursday, as I know there was a pressing need to get this going, and I would look at that. There are things beyond my control, and I think in the best interest of having a good, open discussion on it with the right personnel in place, that having a meeting this Thursday without everybody involved would be a mistake. So unfortunately, the meeting date, as of the moment they were pushing for, was June 4th, so, which is, I think, way later than it should be. But that's what my understanding of the discussion is June 4th, so just keep that in mind. I have public comment. Is anybody written down for public comment? Does anybody know? If you don't mind, Trish, please, thank you. Oh, thank you for your names, huh? Thank you, Trish.
Welcome.
Mr. Neil Duffy, I just received some paperwork with some writing on it, but if you're speaking to it, absolutely. Just
Hi, good evening. My name is Neil Duffy.
Name and address, please, thank you.
Yep, 17 Bryant's Lane, Brant Rock. I'm here to, I'd like to comment on the Jetty Restaurant outdoor seating that the Select Board approved last year in June by a vote of 2-1. The vote removed all parking from the restaurant's parking lot and allowed outdoor activity until 10 p.m. every day between April 15th and Columbus Day in October. The continued outdoor activity has negatively affected my neighborhood, my neighbors and myself quite a bit. They set the bandstand up right on the property line of a residential neighborhood, and it is incredibly disruptive to my neighbors and myself. The removal of the parking has caused excessive congestion in the neighborhood. There are people parking on sidewalks because there's nowhere else to park. And when you're parking on sidewalks, you're blocking handicapped access to the entire esplanade, as well as all the restaurants. It's just wrong. I realize that the state zoning law has been changed. You can see Chapter 40A, Section 3B, and it now allows the Select Board to approve outdoor seating without following the usual local zoning procedures. However, the law does not mandate that a Select Board approve a request for expansion of seating. Instead, the law states a city or town may approve a request for expansion of outdoor table service. In the town of Marshfield, there are local zoning bylaws that require parking spaces for businesses. The local zoning bylaw also states that any space in existence shall not be decreased or in any way removed from service. I do not believe the new law that was passed recently about outdoor seating, do not believe the new law was intended to allow all restaurants to remove their parking spots. Think of how stressed the parking and how crazy the parking would be in Brant Rock if the Venus removed all their parking. What if 291 Ocean removed all their parking? Then there'd be virtually no parking in Brant Rock. We all know that Brant Rock needs more parking, and the needs for parking will only grow when more development happens. Also, Section 3B requires that the Select Board establish the process for approving such requests. The process that was drafted last year does not include good guidance or rules on activities allowed in the expanded seating area. In fact, one of the bylaws is a 35-foot buffer zone between a business activity and a residential neighborhood, and that's my residential neighborhood. And there's no more 35-foot buffer zone. The buffer zone is 0 because this board last year approved it. Let me continue. Marshfield zoning, in general, bylaws address prohibit loud music and other loud noises. Because last year's Select Board vote bypassed local zoning, violations that normally would be allowed, wouldn't be allowed, are now occurring, especially the loud music, amplified like you wouldn't believe, incredibly disruptive. I don't believe that the intent of the new law was to allow excessive noise in a residential neighborhood, going back to the 35-foot buffer zone. I am respectfully asking that the current Select Board review our local bylaws and laws and to re-examine how to more properly implement the new outdoor seating law. Other towns have formally written new bylaws to deal with outdoor seating. I am asking for the Select Board to revoke the outdoor seating permission that was granted last year to the Jetty. I ask this because the Jetty is now on the May 27th ZBA agenda to ask for a site plan approval to make a permanent barrier in front of the former parking premises. Review should happen promptly before a more permanent barrier is built. Thank you. And on another note, it's just, to me, just seems obvious. There were 14 parking spots in the Jetty parking lot. Those 14 parking spots are now, all that parking is now pushed out to the esplanade. Well, the Esplanade parking is owned by the taxpayers of Marshfield. So now you've essentially given 14 taxpayer-owned parking spots to a private entity. That's just wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. In regards to Mr. Duffy's request, Bob, do you think there should be more review from the select board on that?
So last year, the select board had a set of guidelines to consider the extension of a premises to have outdoor seating areas, because that was, as Mr. Duffy indicated, a change in the law. If the board would like to review the policy that the board adopted last year, it's available, and you could put it on an agenda item and discuss it again if you want. The process did include advertisement and notice to abutters, particularly if alcoholic beverages were going to be served, because it'd be a two-step process. Not only do they have to come to the select board to discuss whether you're going to allow outdoor seating, but you'd also have to look at whether a license amendment could be made, because alcohol can only be served in a confined area.
All right, so the way I'm understanding it is that the process that was set up last year can or maybe should be reviewed and tweaked.
Yeah, you could, I think you could revisit it.
Okay.
But definitely Mr. Duffy's point about considering the impact on the neighborhood, that was a consideration in the policy. What would the impact be on the neighborhood? And, you know, you're not bound by what a prior board did. You might want to revisit it. You've heard a complaint from a resident, maybe what's going on there isn't what you feel is appropriate too. I don't know.
Well, I know reviewing the paperwork that we received last year, it's
Yep.
the only way a select board can, I guess, terminate the agreement is if there was a violation of some sort, part of it, but I don't know if any it's my understanding, there has been no violations, everything seems to be, okay, the way it's standing, in regards to some of the reports I've seen, so
I'm
the
not
only
aware.
question mark would be is, I don't think we have a way of measuring, the decibels in that area in regards to the music, and I think my opinion is that's something that, where it seems to be a constant concern with Mr. Duffy, is that we should probably have a decibel meter located somewhere where the town can review in regards to noise.
Well, we do have a noise bylaw.
We have, I know, we have a bylaw, that's what I'm saying, but
But it
we have no
relates-
way to monitor it.
But it relates to amplified sound, as Mr. Duffy indicated.
Yes.
Okay, so it would be more of an entertainment issue. But perhaps if they have outdoor seating and it's a problem, maybe outdoor seating doesn't occur as late in the evening as maybe it's going on now. I don't know, but
No, so, all right, so we can revisit this even though the select board approved whatever was going with it last year. It
you
can't be
could, because
revisited.
it was a guideline. It wasn't a bylaw or anything like that. It was a guideline. So you're perfectly within your rights to discuss it again, and maybe after years of experience, you may think differently about how it works.
All right. Jenna, please add that to the agenda. Thank you.
Could I make
Oh, you
just?
want to comment on it?
Oh, can I just say
Go
one
ahead.
thing?
Sure, yeah.
So there is an issue too, because I live down there with the handicap parking, and Mr. Duffy
Oh, no,
mentioned
I
that
know that,
last,
yeah.
with the pole in the middle. But what about this meeting for a permanent barrier to be put up if we don't meet until after that?
I would say, Bob, I would look at that, you can notify the zoning board that the select board's going to take this issue up, and they can probably postpone any decision, maybe?
Yeah, is that coming up on this coming
27th.
agenda?
Yeah, according to Mr. Duffy's letter here, it's the
I'd
27th.
be happy to let the ZBA know that you're going to be discussing the policy, and perhaps they won't make a final decision until after you guys have had a chance to discuss the policy. I'll
Yep.
let them know.
Very, very well advised.
Okay.
Could I just make one more comment?
Yeah, absolutely, Mr.
Again, Neil Duffy, 17 Bryant's Lane. Attorney Galvin mentioned that the abutters would have been notified of what happened last June. Well, the abutters were not notified that meeting was going to take place. Now, that's the second time the abutters have not been notified concerning this address and this proprietor. 5 years ago, when they were building the patio out back, we again were not notified of meetings. So that's a problem I'd like to see addressed in this town. How are abutters notified, and how do you confirm that the abutters have been notified? It's certainly a problem. Thank you.
What is the process in regards to notifying the butters of?
Well, this is a exception to zoning. If this was a zoning process, abutters would get notified and there'd be a public hearing notice sent to them at least 7 days prior to the meeting. Because this is an exception to zoning and the new law doesn't have a process, it's whatever you adopt as a
But I
process.
think, what about the new patio? Are they supposed to be notified of that new patio?
The policy that I wrote, because I wrote a guideline for you, required advertisement in the newspaper, if we had it, and notice to abutters, which would be people that are abutters that are directly contiguous, and then abutters to abutters within 300 feet. It would be the same process for a site plan approval with the zoning board of appeals. That was what I envisioned.
All right, so my understanding is that Mr. Duffy and his neighbors weren't notified in regards to a new patio that was gonna be built, that was coming before the ZBA. So I guess to Mr. Duffy's point, what he's bringing up is that, how do we verify that the abutters are being notified?
Well, we would give the notice as the town.
Okay, so let's put it this way. If there was no notice given to the abutters, then this, would the ZBA meeting be moot at the moment?
No, because that's a separate process. They're looking to do something different than having an outdoor patio. They're looking to put a permanent barrier up. So I will advise the ZBA for next week that the select board are gonna look at this outdoor policy again, and that might have an impact on whether they are gonna give them approval for a permanent barrier. I know that they won't act, they'll let you decide what you're gonna do. I'm sure of it.
Okay. Permanent barrier. So the ZBA would have to send out notices to anybody in regards to?
ZBA does send out notice to abutters and advertises in the newspaper all of their public hearings.
So did you get a notice of this barrier?
I did, but last year, we didn't get a notice concerning the outdoor alcohol service and the
Yeah, you're talking about the select board.
removal of the parking lot.
Yeah.
But
I don't think,
we should have gotten a notice, is that correct?
no, I don't think there was a requirement in the law the way it was
The
written,
law
right?
does not require, it can be in a public meeting. The policy that I recommended did talk about advertisement and public notice.
Right. Steve, Tricia, you have anything to add?
Just because the discussion isn't on our posted agenda, I'm gonna steer clear in case it's an open meeting law violation.
Make a point there, Steve. All right, what time is it? We got a couple minutes.
Can I chime in, Mr. Chair?
Oh, I'm sorry.
About the same
Go
thing.
ahead.
Grover Hensley, 49 Ashburton Ave. I'm also on the ZBA. I will recommend in the next meeting that we wait until your decision is made or your review happens for that item.
In regards to what Mr. Duffy brought up?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay,
For the barrier next week.
thank you.
All right, thanks.
And Deirdre Adams, I think it is?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm supposed to talk now, I just have a question. Okay? I just have a question about the new telephone pole that they're proposing to put up on 12th Road and Foster.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Kelly, just name and address for the,
Name and-
Up 13 12th Road.
Okay,
Okay?
what was your comment?
Okay, my question is, if they put a pole, which would be right on the corner of my house, would all the lines to that pole go right over my backyard?
I guess you're gonna have to wait a few minutes and we can get those answers.
That's fine, okay,
All right.
thank you.
Richard Burchell, I think it is?
Yes. I don't like it when they call my name. What's up? Is this regarding the telephone pole?
This is the public comment you signed up for, so if you're
Whoa,
here to
whoa,
speak
whoa,
on
whoa, I
it.
thought we were signing in to come in.
No,
All right, I'll talk to you in a bit.
okay.
I said, man, this is thorough.
All right, what do you have, 6:35? So we'll open up the hearing.
you have one minute.
1 minute, all right.
My watch is pretty accurate.
Oh, you know what? My watch says 6:35 too, so I
Thank
think
you.
you're good. I think you're good.
Can I make one public comment real quick?
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew.
Andrew Stewart, Highland Street. I understand that people are frustrated that the meeting on Thursday, we're looking to reschedule it. I had a meeting with several of the moms that filed the original request for enforcement today to go over a bunch of the different issues. As, you know, people are bringing up the types of services and toxicity and stuff. So we wanted to clear the issues on that, clear up kind of all the different processes. I think they were not quite understanding that we had to secure the funding first before we could actually start designing and planning the actual project and figuring out these things. And they're a lot more comfortable now with the fact that we're doing this. That's why they want me to be at that meeting. Unfortunately, I can't be at that meeting. I teach a class on Thursday nights. But and then with Memorial Day and everything else, it kind of screws up the next week as well. So that's the reason for pushing it off. I also met with Diane Jordan and Sean Patterson today about this issue and went over everything. I showed Diane the presentation that I put forth last year in response to the request for enforcement to kind of show all the different non-compliant issues, and that was what we presented to CPC for to get that 750. And, you know, with your permission, I'd like to ask the IT department to put that that presentation up on the website so that we can at least over the next couple of weeks before that meeting get that information out so that people can really see, you know, what the exact issues are and make informed comments and stuff, and then they can ask really better questions and everything. So if you're okay with it, I'd like to ask the IT department to put that presentation on the website.
I would say this, Andrew, because I think Steve brought up a good point in open meeting law and how that, why don't you email it to us and then I'll get back to you on it.
Okay.
That's all right, all right?
Sounds great.
Thanks. Where are we? Okay, the poll hearings. So, the poll hearing is supposed to start at 6:35. The first one is 280 Foster Avenue. Do we have anybody presented from Verizon or whoever?
I'm a vendor for Verizon.
Okay, can you just give your name, you can sit at this,
Sure, I'll
this
go.
table right here and just give your name and address.
Mr. Kelly, we have, in your binder under the appointments, there's a poll hearing process, and
Oh, thank you.
just want you think you should follow that process with each one of these.
Thank you.
Well, if you're talking about number 8,
No, right here.
I think I'll probably.
It's at the.
Oh, you don't have it in your
It's
motions?
at the beginning. No, the beginning.
Appointments? Yeah, there's
It's right before those. No.
right before. Oh, yeah, here it is. This is the process for the poll hearing. Right here. So, you'll open the public hearing, then you read the meeting notice.
So I read in this page,
I could summarize.
Two
it for you.
pages.
Would it be helpful if it's summarized?
wow, it's a lot of reading. Yeah, I think to save everybody some time, if you want to summarize it, Paul.
Yeah, so I think-
Bob, yeah, absolutely.
So what I recommend that you do first is move to open the public hearing on this particular,
Subject matter, 280 Foster.
correct, move to open the
All
hearing.
right, so the Chair of the Select Board moves to open public hearing on the poll hearing on 280 Foster Avenue, usually identified by the name of applicant, Verizon or Eversource, and for the poll located at 280 Foster Avenue,
I believe so, yes.
and identified by poll numbers.
I don't remember.
That I don't have.
Let's see. First one is,
Do you want me to give it to you?
yes,
All right, so it's jointly owned poll number 433/3A.
Is that it?
yeah, 433A.
All right, so 433-3A.
I think that's the new location. The existing poll is 433/A. Yep.
All right, so wait a minute. For the poll located at, and that's gonna be 280 Foster Ave, right?
That's the proposed location of the final poll.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about what the opening comments are. So The chair of the select board moves to open a public hearing on poll hearing on 280 Foster Ave. And for the pole located at 280 Foster Ave, right?
Yeah, it's actually located across from 274 Foster Ave, and it's proposed to be moved to 280 Foster Ave, and it's identified by poll number 433/A.
All right, you know something, with this first part, in regards to what we're supposed to read is, I don't think, followed what we're just discussing, so are we safe to go by what you just said? Bob?
Yes, you can just adopt what I've said.
All right, so what do we, so at number 2, chair or other members read public hearing notice. So I'm gonna read number 3.
Yeah, there's a page in there that says notice of public hearing. You just want to read that verbatim into the record?
Chair confirms with staff that the public hearing notice was properly advertised or posted at least 48 hours prior to the opening of public hearing, and that notice to direct abutters of all real estate abutting all on that part of way are given written notice by mail, also at least 7 days in advance of the opening of the public hearing. The assessor's office supplies the list of the select board staff, and they handle the written notice for the select board. The
Yeah.
chair confirms.
Let me just read this, give you this. Here's the public hearing notice. That's what I'd like you to read there.
Okay.
Yep.
In conformity with the requirements of section 2.2 of chapter 166 of the general laws, you are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held at the Marshfield Town Hall Select Board Chamber, 870 Moraine Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts, on the 19th day of May 2025 at 6:35 PM upon the petition of Verizon New England and Instar Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, dated March 19, 2025, for permission to locate poles, wires, cables, and fixtures, including the necessary anchors, guides, and other such sustaining and protecting fixtures to be owned and used in common along and across the following public way or ways of said town of Marshfield. Select Board, Town of Marshfield.
Okay, so I can also, you've read the public hearing notice. In speaking with the staff, I can confirm that the appropriate public notice was given and the abutters list is there. So it's been advertised and properly noticed. So you can move right on to number 4, which is you confirm you have the application, the pole utility plan. And then it really just comes to you to ask the applicant to make their presentation.
The chair confirms and lists out everything that the select board has received from the applicant, which include typically application and a utility pole plan.
Yeah, and you have both of those in your file, in your packet.
Yes. Is that it?
Yep, and then I think you can move right on to number 6, because I don't think you have any additional information, and you can ask the applicant from Verizon Eversource to make their presentation.
The chair then asks the applicant, typically a utility representative, to present the reasons for a new or relocated pole. Did I end it there?
Yep, you're good.
How you doing, John? Sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Ah.
Well,
First time, first time for these things, so it's a learning curve, so bear
my
with me.
fifth time here, so you bear with me, too. My name is Mike Walengevich. I work for an engineering telecommunications firm. We do site acquisition and, additional work for vendors for Verizon. Verizon and Eversource both own the pole together jointly. From time to time, Eversource might put in a request that they want to add in a new pole in the territory. They ask Verizon, hey, will you guys want to jump in and be co-owners? Yes. If in fact Verizon cares to do that, we're the ones then who have to go and do the public hearings and easement, and Verizon will actually physically place the pole on behalf of Eversource.
Okay.
So this came up as a request through Eversource from the property owner, I believe at 280. I believe it's a builder that I think he owns 280 and 274. I could be mistaken, but it was a house remodel. And they're looking to serve the house with the new electrical service, and they're trying to get the pole closer. For one thing, it would be less stress of, the aerial attachments and building attachments with all the wind down by the water. So that's why they proposed a pole where it's located. It's in the public utility right away, and that is, I did a quick rendering. There were stakes placed down sometime this past winter or fall, and what you see in the rendering is where the stakes were of the proposed pole location.
So, I've driven by the area, and and it doesn't seem like it's a big move, in my opinion. The only thing is that, as opposed to the other map showings, I know it's probably just the technical thing, but in regards to where you had the layout, your layout looks like it's showing in the street instead
That's-
of in the property, so
Yeah, it's not in the private property, okay? It's out in.
you're going by the borders, so you're not outlining where the street is, you're outlining where the borders of the houses are.
Correct,
So if-
yeah.
All right, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, which, on those roads, when you get down by the water, you have probably a variable width for utility right away. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you have larger roads, that probably have like 8 to 10 feet, but when you get down by those roads, it's probably much less, but it's in the utility right away.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see somebody's fence right up along the
Yes.
roadway, but doesn't necessarily mean that's their property.
Yeah, I mean,
Back further.
the fence might have hugged a little bit hard on the Foster side, but we don't, it's on our way, so.
I really don't have any questions or anything, or issues with this. Steve, do you have any comments on it?
No, this one looks pretty clean. I mean, the existing pole is on the property line between two different houses and is just being moved to the corner at the end of the road, so.
It's actually technically not a move, it's just an additional pole.
Okay,
To cut back the aerial, over to the other house, the distance.
all right, thank you. Yeah, well, it looks fine.
Trish? Good? All right. Yeah, absolutely. Can you stand up, identify yourself, and give your address and your concerns? Or
Deirdre Adams, 13 12th Road, and in the picture, this is my house, the brown one, and the wires going where the pole is now on Foster Ave, going to the new one, those wires would definitely be over my whole side yard there.
It's technically the utility right away. I mean, it's,
The pole is
the-
not the issue, it's the wires.
I can understand that. But on every street, the town selects a utility right away where all the poles go and the wires connecting. So unfortunately, your property is kind of tucked in between both. I think it would be very minimal. I mean, it's where that brown line is, where, showing the pole, there is a stake there. And if you were to stand at that
Yep,
and
I've
line
seen
it
that.
up,
It goes right over the back, the whole side yard.
Yes. Yep, your side yard.
And in past winters, it is not unusual for us to have wires down. So that means that I've got a higher risk now of having wires down in my yard.
Actually, I believe that's the reason why they're putting up that additional pole, to reduce the length of the feed, electrical feeds to the house across the street, because I think it was serving 3 or 4 homes. So if anything, it's reducing the weight on the one pole down on the southern side of your property.
Okay. And how high up are those wires going to be? Are they going to
They're
be,
going to match everything else on the.
so they would be above the roof line then?
I don't have those specs. I mean, it's set to code, so you have secondary power. If the one behind your home, in the back left corner of your lot, is
Yep.
above your roof line, then it should match the same. It's not going to go down. If anything, would stay up, but it's not going to go down.
Okay. Just one other comment I want to mention. If you've noticed, like right on the corner, there's like a cement thing there. The reason that is there is because that's been a high area where cars have backed into that area.
Oh, trust me, I saw
So
it.
just so
That's
you
the
know
same.
that
Yeah.
that's a,
It's-
that's why
I bet
it's
it's a
there.
tricky spot for the plow trucks, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I bet the whole neighborhood is not fun for the poor DPW guys.
Yep, and trash and everything else, so.
I mean, the good news is a pole sticks out of the snow quite a bit, so they'll see it coming down the street, hopefully. I mean,
Okay.
this.
Like I said, I know that that's public land or whatever for the pole, so I have no problem with that. My concern is the wires.
Absolutely understandable. With the great news, it's gonna be a brand spanking new pole too. It's gonna take some time for that thing to erode.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I do have concerns looking at the picture. I thought it was gonna be going in, I didn't realize when I drove by thinking that the property owner's fence was, probably out further into the public way, but this pole is gonna be outside the fence.
Yeah, once again, it's gonna utility right away.
And like the Deidre mentioned, high traffic area, and she has that concrete barrier there in regards to, because people backing in or whatever. What are you gonna do to protect the pole so it doesn't get hit? And
I bet if we drive around there, we're gonna find a lot of I mean, they're very tight roads. Unfortunately, we need utilities above ground. There's nothing below ground around there. I'm not the engineer who designed
I
it,
think the
but
pole that you're assisting here, getting the way up, I think that's in somebody's yard, if I remember correctly, right?
no, all these I'm presenting tonight, if these were in private property.
Not in private property, but where the fence line is, it looks like it's their property. It's got like a protective,
Inside.
yeah, so it's got like a little protective barrier where the fence is. This is gonna be outside of it,
Yes, outside the fence.
outside of that
Correct.
fence line. So that's my concern is, there's no curbing or anything around it.
Nothing down there, no.
I mean, Bob, should that be a concern with this in regards to the?
Unfortunately, I suspect that where the two poles are located is the, kind of within the layout of the street, and this private property owner's fence might be inside the layout of the street, so she actually has fenced in a portion of the public way. Something that we see quite often, actually. Not something we encourage, but it looks like the wires would kind of cross over a small portion of what is probably grassed and fenced in.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about where the utility lines are. I'm talking where the pole's gonna be located.
Yeah.
At the corner.
Yep.
And it's gonna be, pretty open.
Yeah.
And then you got, potentially have a guy wire there, so I'm just wondering, should we be looking for some kind of curbing around it? Some kind of protection?
You can inquire, I'm not familiar with whether they have that type of,
I can ask them, but I mean, I think.
what would you,
I
what
think
would
you're
you,
just gonna put the curbing out in the road more for a plow truck to grab hold of. You know, whereas you see a 40-foot pole coming down the street, you're hopefully not gonna hit the base of it.
No, well, I'm just not talking about a plow truck. I would hope that the truck driver would be, very well aware that's there. I'm just talking about anybody else. You
I mean,
know?
I can ask them to put reflectors on it. It's really,
I would say,
it's a tough, you know, anything down by the water and all the different beaches in all these beach communities around here. I hate to say it, we all have the same problem. When you get these tight
Right.
roads and cottages, it's,
I would go with
you need the
reflect-
utilities, but there's not much we can do with the layout of the roads are pretty tight.
I guess we can roll with reflectors, and I guess if something happens with the pole, I guess that's when we'll have to revisit it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is it's not like Route 139 and it's that narrow. I mean, it is a side road, but I can genuinely understand your concerns.
All right. Do you have a comment?
Hey, Richard Burchell, 278 Foster. Dee a great neighbor, been fantastic through this whole project. I'm the builder of the house as well. The house is being built for Jennifer Hamill, and the genesis of this whole issue started when the original house was torn down. The original house was right at the seawall, so when the new house was designed, 280 Joan DiGiacomo's house, her wires go across 278. So when the new design of Jennifer's house, the house went out to we went through zoning and all that. So they approved the project. So when the house was being pile driven, we had to call Verizon to take Joan's wires and pull them off of our lot. So right now, when you look at I didn't look at the picture, when you go to the street, you'll see the wires going from Jones and from the next one down. They're all grabbed and they're encased in that orange.
So you had aerial trespass?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had was you at Verizon or?
I wouldn't be.
It was someone, one of the, utilities came with a bucket truck and they put the orange brackets on and they ratcheted it off of my property in a sense, so I could build the house. So right now, when you're there, you see, tethered ropes holding this thing off. So there's no option for Joan DiGiacomo now. That's why they took the pole from here and put it on the corner of Dee Dee's. And in defense of, your wire is gonna have, your whole backyard will be cleaned up. It's just gonna be one. It's not gonna have 5 coming across the street. And
Okay, so it wouldn't be a whole bunch of.
oh, no, there's just gonna be one from the pole over, and then they're gonna shoot across the street to Jones and to the O'Connors. Mullins or O'Connors? Mullins. Trying to get the names down. So it's actually super beneficial, and as far as if anybody is driving and they miss her wall, and then they hit the pole, then they're gonna be doomed anyways. So it's super protected, that corner.
That's what I'm trying to avoid is.
No, no, and again,
The doing with that
no.
person and the doing with the pole.
Yeah, so right now you have, even when like the trash truck comes down, they have to go down, stop, do like a 7-point turn. So, I don't think that's not the issue. The issue is Joan DiGiacomo's coming across 278. So that's kind of the whole,
No, the necessity of installing a new pole, I
Yeah.
understand that, I get that. Did this go before the Board of Public Works?
This one did, yeah. Actually, all three, there's a memo in the file, Monday, May 12th, 6:58 PM, from Ken Ryan to Jenna Gillis, with copy to Sean Patterson, and it said that the Board of Public Works approved the proposed poles on 1140 Ocean Street, 1143 Ocean Street, and 280 Foster Ave at tonight's meeting.
Okay.
All been approved.
And just to ask, everybody understands what the aerial trespass was?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted, in case somebody
The
wasn't.
lines running over somebody's property.
Yeah, I know it's common sense, but just in
yeah,
case.
I get that. I find it, why did this go before the Board of Public Works?
Because the poll hearing is only you,
But why did the Board of Public Works take it up?
because the Select Board has always asked the Board of Public Works for assistance in determining whether it's a good idea for the poll to be moved. Where they have the utility experience, you always have customarily received their input.
Okay, I appreciate that. Do you have anything to add in?
Yeah, Andrew Stewart, Building Commissioner. I would just say that part of this moving the pole is going to make it easier too, because the project is to take a non-compliant house, elevate it and flood-proof it. So with that, your meter and everything has to be elevated too. This is going to make it easier for them to connect that new meter and kind of clean up the whole area right there. So I was going to say I'd support this as well.
Good. I think I'm good with it. Is both you and Steve good?
All good, yep.
I'm good. So I do have conditions that I want to make sure, because it's one thing that I've seen with Verizon and/or Eversource in regards to it, and that is making sure the grounds return to its original condition, not massive piles of dirt and sand left behind, old pole debris and any other pieces of equipment left behind. And I guess the next one, which we said, is that, is making sure that there are a substantial amount of reflectors on that pole as well at different heights between for vehicles and trucks. That sound all right to put in for conditions?
My recommendation is that you close the public portion of the meeting, and then you could deliberate, and you could put the conditions on now that you've mentioned them to the applicant. So the first motion make is move to close the public hearing on 280 Foster Ave, the poll hearing on 280 Foster Ave, and then you can do your motion to approve, deny, or put conditions on.
Okay, so I'm gonna move to close the public hearing on 280 Foster Ave. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I'm gonna put conditions on in regards to that.
You just want to make sure you call for the vote too on that.
So should I put the vote, the conditions
Yeah.
first, or the vote?
No, what we're going to do,
Oh,
you
close the hearing, then move to.
close the public portion of the hearing, which I think you already have the motion, it's
Yep,
been seconded,
yep.
to call for a vote on that, then you'll deliberate.
Okay.
Call for a
So
vote.
you wanna vote on closing the public hearing?
Close the public portion of the hearing.
Okay.
As you said.
Aye.
Okay, then,
You're taking a vote as well, and Mr.
no,
Darcy.
we already did.
Okay,
So,
all right, so now the.
oh, actually, he seconded, I apologize, he seconded it, so it's aye, just said aye, and Steve is aye.
Mr. Darcy is an aye as well.
Yes.
Okay, so now the public portion of the hearing is closed, and you can deliberate. And the two questions you are asking are, is this location in an area that would cause it a physical inconvenience or danger to the traveling public? And does the placement of the pole have an adverse impact on aesthetics? And if you're satisfied that it will not cause a physical inconvenience or danger to the public, and it will not have an adverse impact on the aesthetics, you could make a motion to approve, subject to conditions, and then you could add the conditions that you've just enumerated, which I think are really good conditions, because we've had those problems where the utility company will move the pole or put a new pole in and leave the debris there, and
Correct.
the reflectors seem to make
Right,
great sense.
so, I'll make a motion, well, actually, a public deliberation, in regards to, do we think that the location of the pole have an adverse, effect on the aesthetics of the property? Should I do it as one, both together, or just,
Yeah,
one-
I'll frame the motion for you this time, and if it would be helpful, and then, so the motion would be that, based on a finding that there will not be a physical inconvenience or the danger to the traveling public and no adverse impact, the motion would be to approve the new pole location. So that would be the, subject to conditions. So you could adopt that, and then have it seconded, see if there's any discussion, and then take a vote.
And what about the conditions?
It's subject to conditions, so you'll take the vote first, then you'll discuss your conditions, and then approve those.
Okay. So, the motion's going to be, actually, I don't see a motion.
If you flip to the next page, I have a potential motion there. I move to grant.
Oh, the public, the actual one?
Yep.
It's number 15.
Yeah, I was just looking at that, I saw number 12 and then 15. So, the permission motions are, I move to grant Eversource?
Verizon and Eversource.
Verizon and Eversource?
Yep.
Permission to install, poles at, what, was it 280 or was it 2?
It is 280
280.
Foster Ave.
As shown in the proposed plan dated,
I'll give you the date on that plan.
oh, this should have
The
filled out.
date is 3/5/25.
Subject to conditions. If the motion passes, the board discusses any conditions and votes on them. Okay, so that's the motion put forward to vote on granting Eversource Verizon permission to install a pole at 280 Foster Ave as shown on proposed plan dated 3/5/25, subject to conditions. Do I have a second?
Second.
So, we go for a vote first, right?
You could ask if there's any further discussion.
Okay, any further discussion amongst the board members?
No.
And so this way we make the motion for,
Now you can take the vote.
take the vote, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now you can discuss the conditions.
Okay,
You came up with, I think, a few pretty good ones.
so the conditions, in my opinion, would be to make sure the property is returned to its original condition. Remove all debris, including the entire old pole from the ground. Oh, actually, there's not gonna be any old, it's gonna be a new pole. So remove all debris, and there will be reflectors on the pole at different heights for vehicles and truck traffic.
And you wanted the dirt removed as well, too, right? So they didn't pile it up.
Return to emergency, because, yeah, but make sure, yeah, I mean, if necessary, we'll add that, make sure all dirt is, dirt or sand is removed after pole installation.
So those, you're moving for those conditions to be added as conditions of approval.
Yep. Is there any discussion?
No.
No.
Okay, so we make a motion on the conditions, correct? So I motion that for the conditions, the property be returned to its original condition. That means remove all debris, including dirt and sand to be removed, no piles to be left, and there will be reflectors installed on the pole at different heights for vehicle traffic and truck traffic. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that passed You're all set on that one. So the second one,
All right, so now,
so you can go right into open the public hearing on the second one.
Thank you.
Actually, the second and third you might want to combine because they're on the same parcel of land, but it came as two separate orders.
Yeah, you could do that because it's after
Thanks.
6:45, so you could combine those two and treat them as one hearing, and it'll make it a lot easier for you both.
so you're saying combine 1143 and 1140?
Yes.
Okay,
So,
notice of public hearing?
yeah, and then when you're doing this one, just mention both polls that you're treating together.
Okay.
Okay?
In conformity with the requirements of Section 22 of Chapter 166 of the general laws, you are hereby notified that a public hearing will be held at Marshfield Town Hall, Select Board Chamber, 870 Marine Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts, on the 19th day of May 2025 at 6:45, upon the petition of Verizon New England and N-Star Electric Company, DBA Eversource Energy, dated March 19, 2025, permission to locate poles, wires, cables, and fixtures, including the necessary anchors, guides, and other such sustaining and protecting fixtures to be owned and used in common along and across the following public way or ways of said town of Marshfield. This would be 1140 Ocean and 1143 Ocean Street. So, we have to go through the,
So the public hearing is now open on that project, and you could ask the applicant to make the presentation on the combined projects.
okay. So, once again, can you please explain the project, please? Thank you.
Sure. This came over as an order for Eversource. They're their end user with the request. They're doing some upgrades along the road, and they're doing a ground-based solution, so they need to go from underground conduit up aerially. So they need to put these two poles to go in both opposite directions of their, conduit from the ground up to the power.
Seems, existing pole, proposed pole. So are you're not removing any poles, right?
Negative.
Just adding a pole?
Just adding, and in case you're going to ask, the reason why they can't add a riser to that pole that you see in between these two, it has transformers already on it, so they can't have that on there, so.
Okay,
So they need two fresh poles to do the risers to it.
all right. I really don't see any issues with this. Steve, do you have any comments?
No, you can see from both pictures that it's all woods right there, so
Yeah.
it's more likely to impact a squirrel than a person, so I don't see any issues.
I would wholeheartedly.
Be very angry squirrel,
Trish, do you have any comments or
No.
concerns? Okay. So I would say that we're all good on this. We need to close the public hearing portion of this again.
Yeah, make sure you ask if any in.
Oh, yes, anybody in the audience have any questions? I see none. I have to go through the paperwork again and find, right spot. Okay, I believe. Jail Select Board, oh, actually, no, what was it? 15, I believe it was.
Yeah, you're going to close the public portion, and then you can get into the motion to approve.
Yes, so, I hereby motion to close the public portion of the hearing. Do I have a second?
Second?
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, so, I move to grant Verizon Eversource permission to install a pole at between 1143 and 1140?
Yeah, it's really opposing roads. It's really on that said parcel behind it. But they for some odd reason, the way they do their naming, Verizon and Eversource, they call it out by, its closest address is 1143 and 1140, but it's on the same parcel of land.
what should we do? Just call 11:43, do we, 11:43 and 11:40? I mean, is that gonna be good enough?
The
Good
drawing,
enough?
the drawing does have the parcel of land, I believe, the one that was submitted. Even,
My recommendation is that you move to grant Verizon New England and Eversource permission to install the 2 new poles at 1143 and 1140 Ocean Street as shown on the proposed plan dated February 6, 2025, subject to conditions.
It's one pole, right?
one pole for each order. So technically, it's 2 poles, 1 plot of land.
I see existing, all right, the plan here,
The
maybe I'm
handout,
missing something here.
Yep.
Existing pole, I see 2 for existing poles, and I see a proposed pole. I only see 1 proposed pole in the plan.
Yes, on the right-hand side, there's the 2 proposed poles.
All right, I'm going off the plans you sent here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, of course, they got sent over at different times because there was 2 separate orders. So that's the reason why I figured I'd do this quick rendering to show it's technically on the same
All right,
parcel of land.
but on your pictures here, not in the plans that were shown, but on the pictures, you're showing 2 proposed poles.
Yes.
All right, I mean, it's not in your plans, Bob, what did I say?
It's
Bob?
already-
Bob, so I mean, how should we, I mean, and it's on there.
as shown on the sketch plan that he handed out this evening, you can approve it in those locations.
All right, so in the motion, should I just read letter A and then add in the ID number of the parcel of land, or, actually, no, it's gonna be on one, yeah, both of them are gonna be on the undeveloped parcel, right?
Correct.
So should we just go with the ID of
Yeah.
the parcel of land? Well, at least the location, rough location of it?
My pen. I'll hand you, I'll hand it to you. I think I can fill it in. And then you could read it. I think that would be helpful at least on this one. 1140 and 1143. Ocean Street. Just hand that to Mr. Kelly.
Thanks, Steve.
I just filled in the blank there for you. Hopefully I can read my writing.
So you still wanna go with the addresses then?
I think you should do it with the addresses, because that's what they used.
Okay. I move to grant Verizon Eversource permission to install poles at 1140, 1143 Ocean Street, as shown on the proposed plan submitted, subject to the conditions of the public hearing. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second?
Aye.
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 Okay, now you can just vote on your conditions.
So should I read?
You could make the same conditions that you imposed on the prior one and just have them incorporated into this decision.
Okay, so the conditions as follows: return the grounds to the original condition, including removing all debris and dirt and sand removed, and and install reflectors on the poles. Do I have a second?
Second?
Aye.
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 Okay, now you can close the public hearing. You're good to go.
So we move to close this public hearing. Do I have to mention anything?
On 1140 and 1143 Ocean Street.
1140 and 1143 Ocean Street. Do I have a second?
Second?
Aye.
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 Okay, we're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
They'll issue a license from the select board office
Excellent.
on both projects.
I tortured her. How many butters did you have to hit for these last 2? I'm so sorry. It was like 100 bucks. Have a great night, everyone.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Oh, boy, that was a learning experience right there. All right, so I know we have a certificate. Somebody. Is Ruth Mayberg here? So we have a certificate here. How should we do this? Because I don't think
If
we
you
have an agenda.
invite her invite them to come up to the
Want to
table.
Go to the table here.
Good evening, and thank you for giving us some time tonight at this meeting. For those of you that don't know what took place a few months ago, we had a spending freeze, and I had to cut the number of digital checkouts to our Hoopla service. And Ruth, who loves Hoopla, asked what she could do to increase that back up. And she wrote a letter that went through the Contact Us at Town Hall, which was forwarded to me, and she suggested a fundraiser of a bake sale. And I met with her and her mom, and we had a bake sale. It was extremely successful. She raised over $3,021, and we were able to increase the Hoopla borrows from 2 a month to 5, and that's a number that I think I can maintain in the new fiscal year. So we're all very happy about that. She just was amazing with getting out the people to the, I mean, we were busy all day. Almost every single piece of baked good was sold. So I think that Ruth is a shining example of community spirit, and I wanted to take this opportunity not only to present the donation, but to recognize her remarkable contribution. With your permission, introduce Ruth, and her dad, Aaron, is in the back.
Good job, Ruth.
Well, Ruth, it's, at a young age, it's good to get off on a good right foot, my look at it in regards to what you've done for the community. And I'm sure this will go a long way and should not be forgotten. Do you have any comments for Ruth?
I do, yes. Thank you, Eric. Hi, Ruth, I'm Steve. It's nice to meet you. You don't have to be nervous. There's only like 15 people who watch these meetings anyway, so don't worry. Well, I just wanted to say thank you. Your story was very inspiring, and you know, stories of success like what you have done. I think we could all use more of that in our lives. And there's a good friend of mine who loves to say, before you complain, ask yourself, have you volunteered yet? And you did that. So you saw a problem that existed in our community, and you wanted to help other children be able to basically more than double the number of books that they can borrow from Hoopla each month. So thank you for doing that and stepping up. And, you know, a lot of us, especially me, could use some good news right now. So thank you for what you did. And what I think is great, too, is the fact that you raised over $3,000. There are a lot of nonprofits that have been around Marshfield for many, many years, and they don't even raise $3,000 from a single event. So the fact that you did that in your first event is pretty incredible. And we'll have something else for you in just a few minutes, but I just wanted to give you a thank you gift because you inspired so many people in our town and helped so many kids. So this is for you. Oh, good.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you. It's really good to give of yourself and starting at a young age. So,
Would Ruth mind taking a picture of us with the certificate that we're going to present?
I'd be happy to take a picture
Thank
with you all.
Thank you, Bob.
If you go that way, I can get the seal behind you too. Yeah, like right there, that'd be great.
Want to hold this?
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. There you go.
We all set?
One more thing, Wally Coyle, I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. I have it on good authority that I think she earns more money in that time than Taylor Swift does in 1 hour. Thank her very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us come.
Thank you for coming.
Bye-bye.
Oh, accept the donation.
Oh. Do we have to vote to accept it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Any gift over $50, which is interesting.
Yes, you could just, I think I gave you. a
There it is.
motion.
Discussion and vote on request permission to accept donation in recognition of Ruth Mayberg, Ventress Library. So,
I did a
Steve, do
motion.
you have any comments on it?
No, this was fantastic. And thanks for coming in tonight. Cindy and Wally and the whole family. And Ann, thanks for coming in as well.
Trying to hide that.
Yeah, you were very good at it.
Well, the only comment I would make is it was a dreadful day. I mean, it rained buckets all day long, and people showed up in support of the library. Seems very hard for all of us.
Trish, do you have any comments?
No.
You good?
Thank you.
So upon that, do I have a second on the, for the donation?
Yes, Cindy, do you still have the check in your hand by chance?
do.
Yeah. Give it over. No, just kidding.
I think my admin assistant is going to turn it in tomorrow to Kathleen.
Okay.
That's the process.
He just needs to read the exact amount in the motion, and then you can have it back. And thanks.
The check is for the amount of $3,021.30. Do I have a second on accepting that?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cindy.
You do the same.
Take care.
Okay, I see Elle is here. Elle, if you want to come up here and we'll get the town use.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind if I go to the restroom?
Oh,
Yeah, we want to call a break? Yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
All right, let's call for a 5-minute
I'm sorry.
recess. Do I have a second?
A second.
Aye.
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 There you go. Vote on the donation of memorial tree at Library Pocket Park. And who do we have before us to speak on it?
How you doing, Mr. Chair and Select Board? Grover Hensley, 49 Ashburton Ave. I am part of Webster Walkability, which is like a area of Chamber of Commerce. We've been trying to beautify the center, basically. There's just nowhere to basically get from one end to the other. There's a couple breaks. So our goal in the end is to connect the whole thing so you can walk from the playground to tunnel. We recently did the trees across from Sweet Cakes. In between the Pocket Park and Sweet Cakes is a island that we installed 4 trees. Now there's a total of 6 trees, I think, on that. And we stopped at the other end towards the skate park. Basically, just we didn't have enough money to keep going on it, so we were just going to do a couple bushes on that side, and we were starting that back up. And the Select Board's office, I believe, reached out to the Chamber of Commerce about a donation of a tree in memorial of a toddler that passed away in Marshfield. And she wanted to do it somewhere near the library, and it seemed like it might be a good fit to put it in this area. It fit our needs, fit her needs. So basically, looking to donate about a $750 to $1,000 tree, a red maple going in that spot. It's going to be evenly spaced with the other trees. Basically exactly the same as our last donation to that area. The friends of the parents of this child asked me to do this. Kind of jumped on it and seemed like the right thing to do. It's a win-win for the town, win-win for them, and it beautifies the center as well. They also want to do a small plaque. It'll either be on a stand or on a piece of granite, but like very small, nothing like, you won't see it driving by. You'd only see it if you were standing right there. They originally wanted a bench, and we ended up not doing it just for costs. We were just going to do a tree. There's already benches right there anyway. And then the woman wanted me to read a quick thing about the child that passed away, if you don't mind.
No. Go ahead. Absolutely.
Owen Ritter, was a vibrant, loving toddler. His silly laughter and demeanor was always brought smiles to our faces. One of his favorite activities was visiting the library and reading books. We, good college friends of his strong mama, would love to plant a tree in honor of him at one of his special places. So I think, I mean, I couldn't say no to that, obviously. And it seems like a good cause, and it's a benefit for the town, in my opinion. Watering, I bring buckets of water to water those other trees by hand, because there's no hose there. So I'll adopt watering that area. That street, it's not actually a street, it's a driveway, so it doesn't really fall under the DPW's purview. Usually, that's why we came to you last time about it, and basically you granted us authority to work on that area. There was no dig safe issues last time we were there. Yardscapes by Renee is donating all the labor and machines to dig the hole and plant it, basically. So, I mean, I think it's just a win-win for everyone.
Is, in regards to the plaque or the dedication to
Sure.
the child, how big is it gonna be?
It won't be bigger than this. It'll be likely half the size of this.
All right, I mean, I know it's probably not you really talking, but you said you were concerned about the size and all that. I mean, I look at it as that, I'm not concerned about, I mean, if there's something that should be stand out,
Okay.
you know, I guess cost is one thing, and I don't
Yeah.
know donations, but I can't speak
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. Steve, but my look at it is that, you know, this tree is gonna grow to a certain size.
Mhm.
And my look at it is that, you know, something dedicating to the child, maybe a little background in
Sure.
regards to it, you know, I don't think it has to be hidden for any reason.
Okay.
But, you know, something to stand out that people get their attention and besides the tree, but focusing on that, what it was for, I think would be something nice to do,
Okay.
you know?
I appreciate that, and I'll relay that to the people donating it, and I would imagine around this size would be good, maybe a little bit bigger, but if it was anything outside of that, obviously I would come back and just, okay with you guys, but I really feel like it's
I
gonna be
mean,
like that.
Just use, I might look at it with, besides, you know, Trish or Steve has something to say, is just use best judgment,
Sure.
you know? I would look at it, you know?
Okay.
But other than that, and you said it was, the Board of Public Works shouldn't be concerned with it?
We didn't have to talk with them last time. I guess that road is a driveway, so it's not technically,
Is it
Yeah.
private property?
No, it's all town property, but it's not actually a public way. It's actually a driveway. Library Plaza was at one point all one property,
Yep.
and when the town acquired it, it acquired all the property. There's no street that's been
There's no street, like a designated street name on it, right? It's-
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's town property, but it's not constructed as a street, it's just constructed as a driveway, so if at some point in the future it could become a public way, but this one is not.
Okay, are you gonna dig safe and?
yeah, I did say it the last time, I'll do it again. It expires after, I believe, 90 days, so I'll still do it, but there was no, on that, I marked out the entire island, and there was no issue on that island.
Okay, so you did have it dig safe?
I did have it before,
All right.
yeah, we'll do it again, though.
Okay, other than that, if the Board of Public Works is gonna be involved with the DPW, that's my concern, is just making sure what you're digging is not gonna disrupt the
Yeah, yeah.
services.
100%.
Steve, did you have anything to add, or?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you know, it's very bittersweet, right, because it's so sad what happened, but it's always very moving and touching when someone puts together a tribute for a loved one, and this is something that's going to be there for a long time, and, you know, it'll be nice to watch it grow as the years go by. And thank you for maintaining this and other trees and, you know, going the extra mile, because you have to bring your own buckets of water, because,
Yeah, add one more. What's one more?
yeah, and so based on that, I am curious, where is the nearest hose hookup relative to there?
So if you're standing, if you're looking at Liv, standing in front of Liv, if you look right, there's a hose bib that hangs out of the ground, but it doesn't work. I'm assuming there might be a key to turn it on, but I've never really dug too deep into it. Obviously, if I had a key, I would be using that one, but right now, I currently bring the water from my house. But these trees require an absolute insane amount of water for the first year or two of their life, especially if this one gets planted in the next month. It's going to be every day, so. If you have any suggestions or,
I'll give you two things. One, we can definitely look into that, and two, you're in luck because a member of the Board of Public Works is here on Zoom, so. I'm sure she's heard your request and feedback, but, we'll work together as a team to look into that and see if we can help something for you.
Awesome.
I'm sure your triceps will suffer if you get a hose and you're not carrying buckets of water anymore,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's okay.
it's a sacrifice you're willing to make.
I'm willing to make that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Move the select board to vote to approve the donation of memorial tree at Library Park and Park. Well, actually, it's going to be the tree and
It's-
a plaque as well?
Yeah, tree and plaque, yeah. So it'll be around $1,000.
Tree, so let me just add that plaque in just for good measure. So move the select board vote to approve the donation of memorial tree and plaque at Library Pocket Park. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Al.
So I guess you guys gonna skip ahead to number 8. Go to 8.
So this discussion is going to be for a potential vote, and obviously potentially if you need to review more documents and all that and come back to it, we can certainly do that. Create a new town policy for the use of town property for events. And Elle is here because she has put some time and effort into this, and she sent an email a while back, and I apologize that you got it late. It was just something her and I communicated earlier on, but I know you have it on your personnel. Like I said, there's no rush to make a decision on this. We can revisit this for more discussion and vote if you need be, but Al, why don't you just give us your thoughts and how we should proceed forward with this?
Sure, Michelle Jarvis, Neptune Road. So I did send an email back in March with some notes ahead of the first discussion and vote. I didn't hear anything back. They're pretty extensive. I don't know if we take this time to do this properly, where I own an event planning and catering company, and 90% of my job is poking holes in things to make sure that we don't drown. So in doing this, we did get the bylaw changed in December. I want to make sure that it's very thoughtful and intentional, so we don't, go into the season and have it all sort of fall apart. The guts are here. I don't know if it behooves us just to go quickly line by line through my email. I think that will sort of steer the ship on how the actual dollar amounts get attached, and then also some policies and procedures of proper channels of communication. So if somebody who is not H. Cole wants to host an event on the beach, how they can do that in the most seamless manner. I'll leave it up to you guys, how you want to.
I would say, in regards to this, I guess the first question I'll ask is, when you put this together, will you use it as a guide?
15 years of experience in the hospitality industry.
Is there any other towns that have anything set up for this?
Yeah, so I work primarily on the South Shore with H. Cole. Previously, I was in Nantucket, and I've worked with large cities, Charleston, Aspen, for food and wine festivals and permitting and things of that nature. So I sort of came up with the best practices from there, but also, since starting H. Cole, I've worked with the Board of Selectmen from Hingham to Duxbury. Every single board is different. Every single town has different bylaws, different rules and regulations. I would say on the South Shore, as far as hosting events on public-owned property, Situate really has it dialed in. It took me a season or two to figure it out, and I was asking for a lot of forgiveness, but their system was very well thought out in how it works.
So on Situate's, in regards to Situate, how is it categorized on their website in regards to public use?
So Situate is interesting because they do not give permits for for-profit businesses on beaches. They do have 3 buildings that the town owns that they rent out for events through the select board. So theirs is the Gare Hall, the community building, which is the old Pier 44, and then the Situate Maritime Center. And the way that works is you call the administrative assistant at the select board's office, ask if that's available. They have different fees for residents and non-residents, and they manage the whole calendar. It's different in Marshfield because we are allowing events on open spaces, but we also have town-owned properties such as the Daniel Webster Estate, North River Art Society, who they manage their own calendars. We don't have to go through town hall to find out availability or pricing or contracts. We only engage with the select board when it comes to serving alcohol or entertainment permits. So I would say if we look at the open spaces that the select board would manage the calendar, such as beaches, Harbor Park, Town Green, we can go, month by month, resident, non-resident. I think there also needs to be, because it is open space, you can in theory have up to 1,500 people somewhere where buildings have a capacity based on what the fire chief says is going to be safe if there's an emergency. So I think in looking at open spaces, there also should be a threshold of people. So say a gathering under 20 people is one price, a gathering under 100 people is one price, a gathering under 250 is one price. So you're not charging a family of 12 residents that pay taxes here to have a picnic on the beach at sunset and legally consume alcohol the same as you would a 250-person gathering.
Okay. Steve, do you have any questions?
No, I think it's kind of a good opening, and, we just want to have clear rules enforced predictably, and, that'll make life easiest for everyone. So I think it's a good start, and, we'll chip away at it.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Trish, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I agree. I did look into this when I saw that we were going to, and I did notice a lot of towns do have some type of nominal fee, just not crazy fees especially for our residents. We don't want, they're paying their taxes. I also think we need to be careful with the photographers because, again, anyone that's having their pictures taken, a lot of them are senior portraits, and it's seniors that go to the high school and
No,
our residents. So I'm just saying, we really need to think this through.
Oh, no, that's,
Yeah.
exactly, that's why I just, this is something that Al's been pushing for a while, and I wholeheartedly will champion it. After the vote was presented a while ago that started off a firestorm, I want to get this conversation back on track again.
Agreed.
And then start a discussion, and then at least that way you can present with your thoughts. You can take it all
Going back
in.
to the photographers, I did do a lot of research on that. So Duxbury actually did, I don't know if they changed a bylaw or it's just now prohibited. They're not allowed to have professional for-profit photographers on the beaches at golden hour, which is like that sunset hour. So that's why we're seeing an onslaught of photography on Wrexham Beach. I will say, for a photographer that's running a for-profit business, they have to have insurance. Their clients are paying for parking, they're paying for parking. I do still think that there needs to be a permit, like a medallion, like you get a press thing. Maybe it's $250 for the year, but it's a business license. But it's not $1,000 a shoot.
I would wholeheartedly
Yes.
agree with that. I think we all would wholeheartedly agree with that. But the whole thing is that, all right, how would you enforce in regards to professional photography being on a beach? Someone's there with a camera, that could be anybody really. Is it, are they looking, are they required, they want a certain spot to pull a permit, or, how would you enforce even charging a photographer if them and people show up at a beach and they wanted to?
I think this would be an excellent question or a collaborative effort with Cindy. She knows that beach and the comings and goings better than anybody at Wrexham, where a lot of the for-profit, commerce is going to be happening. I would imagine that she sees the same photographers over and over and she would know. And then, as far as policing, other hobby photographers. I mean, if there's somebody who's a landscape photographer, who's not actually like point and shooting people, does that come under the ramifications as well? And how is it a hobbyist or a for-profit artist? Maybe it's limited to portraits, senior portraits, family portraits, and that's on the photographer to have an annual medallion versus the individual client.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
I think portraits is likely the way to go.
I would imagine, in regards to photography, that's gonna be the one area that's probably gonna have a lot of discussion in how we go about that. Elizabeth, this way, the next time we come to discuss this, you mentioned Cindy, so Cindy, I would imagine, I would think it should be here, part of the discussion yourself. Is there anybody else that we should invite in regards to, you think that would,
I mean, it
have an
definitely
interest in this?
behooves to have all agencies. I mean, the reason that we're here is when I came for my permits last year, I had approvals from police, fire, board of health, beaches, everybody, before I came to this hearing when we found out that it was a violation of the bylaw. But I think we should definitely talk to the leadership in emergency services, police and fire, and find out what they will not waiver on as far as usage of the open spaces. What is the threshold of needing a police detail? That's what I thought I was here for that meeting, was to tell me how many police details and fire details I needed. Thinking about spaces that don't have restrooms. What does the Board of Health require for how many people and how many porta potties? What are the ramifications for caterers? Of course, we have to list the town of Marshfield as additionally insured on our insurance, but what are the permits that other caterers from different towns need in Marshfield? So my kitchen is based here in Marshfield, but I also hold a catering license in Hingham, Cohasset, Situate, Norwell, Duxbury. So anytime that I do an event there, I have to get a temporary one-day food service permit or pay the $100 to all 6 towns to be a licensed caterer on the South Shore. I think working with town council and the language as far as who can and cannot serve alcohol and what that process is. Going through this process of getting the bylaw change, I think opened a lot of people's eyes of, it's an ABCC, it's a Commonwealth thing, it's not necessarily up to whoever our new town administrator is to pick and choose who gets the permits. I don't know, there is a lot of language in here about tenting and DPW and building. When we put a tent on the Maritime Center in Situate, we have to pull a building permit basically and have the building department sign off on the tent that it's not gonna, blow up and impale somebody in the harbor on their boat. There's a lot that goes into events to keep people safe, not only our guests and our staff, but the public as well. So I think, yes, the fees have to be evaluated, but a lot of this language in here, I'll pull up an example. There's a lot of mention of event coordinators, and who are they? Are they town employees? Is that us? There's, registered agents. There's language of that. Who is that? Who decides the additional staff from the town? Is that venue by venue? So I think there definitely is a lengthier discussion to do this properly, and I think the best course is to actually go venue by venue with the stakeholders that are going to be in charge of keeping people safe, and that could be Town Green, Rexham Beach, what else has public access? Green Harbor Beach, Burks Beach, Harbor Park. In one of the meetings that I listened to previously, the harbor master actually controls Harbor Park, and there's no rules and regulations of what the fee structure is there, a contract process. There's no legal binding document if somebody wants to rent Harbor Park for a ceremony, a wedding. I think we start venue by venue.
That's, I think it's a good suggestion. There's gonna be, there's gonna be a lot of discussion, the way I look at it.
I'm happy to lead the charge. This is no different than planning somebody's wedding. It's different departments, different vendors, different goals, and making sure that it makes sense for the residents first, because when this all exploded on the internet, I'm here to tell you, like, my inbox on my Facebook and my Instagram, like, was not kind. The commentary in town was that I was trying to, like, privatize the beaches and have, like, private beach clubs, which is not the case. Like, I have a select few clients that want to do these events. Wrexham is a slam dunk. It will bring a lot of revenue for the town. I don't want the beaches jammed up with this as well, because on my days off, I want to be able to enjoy them. So doing for the residents first, but also all of those discussions, if we do them now, there's no, oh crap, later. We missed that, we lost that, that's not how it's supposed to happen that way, that's spun out of control. And if we can identify the venues this evening, I'm happy to steer a committee of one or whomever, and make quick work of having those conversations.
I'll say that, I think, let us go over this, and then, I guess I'll have to talk to town council, get his thoughts in regards to what you proposed, and then what you spoke tonight about, and how we should proceed, and, I guess we'll just have to book another meeting to, maybe revisit this. This might take a few more meetings, I think, to put together. Make sure we got all i's dotted and t's crossed, I imagine. So, do either one of you have any comments, Steve, Trish?
Yes, just a few, thank you. Yes, I would just say that I know there was a lot that came up months ago about the photography piece.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the end game for that was always, if there's going to be a movie or commercial TV production, that's going to cause a degree of disruption, and that was what it was aimed for. Nobody wants, people doing senior pictures to be afraid or feel like they're going to be charged more than they make from the session to use the beach. So the goal was always just something large is going to cause a disruption to the town. Small business photographers, that's not going to happen, and I don't want them to be worried that's what's going to happen to them. That wasn't the end game. And then with respect to that, it's like, okay, if Dove wants to do a photography shoot on the beach for an ad in a magazine, right, there's going to be some disruption. With respect to like movies and TVs, we've had so many movies filmed here in Marshfield too, like there's some disruption with that. And a great story I just got this week was apparently there was a film production company that wanted to shoot a scene on Wrexham Beach during peak hours, like really busy day, and the scene was going to be people with bags over their heads, and it was an execution scene. So, yeah. So definitely want to make sure they go through the process. There's going to be a lot of disruption from something like that. So that was kind of the end game. And then, if somebody did want to use Harbor Park for an event, as things exist right now, they do need a license from the select board. It's not something that the harbor master can just give out at will. We would have to approve that and give them a license. And, I do think public input would be important, but I think we need to be a little bit closer to kind of a final draft before we do that, because right now we have a general idea of the direction we want to go in, but not a lot of details or specifics. So I don't want the same mistake to happen again, where something that's not even remotely close to what will be the final product gets out there and people get scared and panic. So I definitely want to present a draft to the public and get their feedback, but be much closer to the end than the beginning, where we took a template from another community and it went out before it was even close to being finished.
Yeah, I would, I agree with your thought there. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with using a template from another community, at least get a guide on it, but, yeah, I see your point that you don't want to be concrete on that particular, you need some flexibility in regards to tailoring it to what your needs are and everything like that.
Yeah, but bust out the ice chisel first.
Tricia, you have anything to add? Or?
I agree, and I want to thank you for all of this work. And I also appreciate you taking the initiative to get the ball rolling when you saw there was a need for this. But I agree that we definitely need to look at things in different, whether it is a large scale or mid-scale to small scale, because it is an impact on the town, whether it's DPW needs to empty trash cans or whatever, so. And I think when there is a fee associated, no matter how small, there's a sense of responsibility too, that puts on the people that are using it, so. But again, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just looking at this in our discussion tonight, I don't think, this is not gonna be a one-day thing in my look at it. This is gonna, I was hoping to get you off and running for your business earlier this summer, but I don't see that happening right now, and I apologize, Al. It was, that was my goal all along, and you know, ever since the last one came up, it just went away afterwards, so, you know, I guess better late than never. Let's see if we can get it done, maybe you can get something in before the summer's out, if not, at least we'll have something ready to go for next year, and hopefully everybody will be acceptable to it, or at least most people, and then we'll be off and running, and it'll be good for you and other businesses as well as the town in
It'll be
general.
great for the town, and again, for me looking at it, it's not as big as a lift in my brain as I would imagine it is yours, because you're learning something for the first time. And I do think that we've kind of already like stopped pitching beach picnics in Marshfield for the season, just because there is so much unknown, but
Right.
again, I think doing it properly from the opening the gate is definitely the best way to do it.
I would say, I know it's a busy time of season for you, I imagine. Like, if each of us wanted to sit down or talk with you individually, is that possible?
Absolutely.
during a
I can
week?
definitely make myself available. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is better for me than the weekends. But I'd be happy to come to Trish's office hours. Thank you for doing that.
There's a little plug for it.
Yeah. You, Trish. But I mean, yeah, I could come to Trish's office hours this week, and then if the two of you want to make appointments at a different time, I can definitely put some brain space behind this
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I can't speak for Steve, obviously, but on myself, between family and work, I will try and work something out ahead of time, see if I can line something out with you and
Sure.
meet and definitely discuss this. I mean, at least if you get the ball rolling with one of us, and then we can give you our ideas and you can share ideas with whoever, and then hopefully we can come up with some kind of template that we can bring forward and then have a discussion.
Can I ask, with this document of the three of you, is there anything in here that you feel right off the bat that is like an absolute hard pass other than the photographer fee, or things that you feel
Without,
are
at least-
very important that need
At
to?
least to me right now, without really fully examining it, I couldn't give you any comment on that right now, so I couldn't tell you.
The document that we reviewed back in March?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I say one?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to see like a resident versus a non-resident.
Yes, yep.
Change in fee.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important.
Yeah, and I wouldn't use the document from March as a foundation or starting point. I would look up what the town of East Hampton has, and I have a printed copy handy right here, if that would be helpful to you. It is a pretty straightforward process, and I think Bob sent it to us maybe last week or earlier this week, but it's a very clean, smooth process, and basically, it just requires the details you would need to issue a license or a permit, and what would be left up to us is, you know, what is a fair resident and non-resident fee to charge. So I found it to be helpful, but I think this would be a cleaner starting point than what went out in March.
Yeah, are you?
Is that an extra copy for her?
Are you talking
Oh,
the
yeah.
document? Are you talking about, when you say the document, are you talking about the document the town proposed, or the document that you sent us, that you emailed us, I think back in March?
No, the document that I'm talking about is the rules and regulations of use of town property that was up
Yeah,
for
is that the one you're talking?
discussion before.
You talking
Yes.
about the one that you sent?
And then the email that I sent to you were my comments and questions and things that I was hoping to have clarified before
Okay,
you voted
right.
on this
Okay.
document, which didn't get voted
All right, I
on.
just wanted to see what document you were talking about.
So from what I hear, we can just
Throw that
start a new document.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Okay, perfect. Great, I'm on it. I'll see you Wednesday.
Sounds good.
So I'll look at the East Hampton, and I'll send everybody the links of Situate as well. Like I said, I think they really have it dialed in, because there is going to be a lift on the select board office. If we have all these open use spaces, whomever is answering that phone, hi, is gonna have to also buy into the process and make sure that it's as seamless and easy for Kate and Jenna as well.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely, it's, yeah, when we put this together, I'm not gonna say there might not be some hiccups somewhere along the line that can't be smoothed out in regards to this whole new process, but
Absolutely.
yeah, we can streamline it the best we can, and then anything that's brought up in regards that needs to be addressed, we can address it, and then hopefully smooth sailing from there for everybody, without a doubt, absolutely.
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming in.
See you Wednesday.
Okay, I'll see you Wednesday.
What were those hours again?
I don't remember. I haven't thought past tonight.
All right, Ventress, the tree. Okay. Discussion and vote on request for permission to accept donation from Veterans Services. So, the town of Marshfield, Veterans Services requests permission to accept donation of $50 from William Conley. The donations will be used to provide assistance for health and welfare, moral and/or financial need of our veterans and their dependents. I'm going to motion that the select board vote to approve the $50 donation from William Conley to Veterans Services. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you. 4. Discussion and vote on request for permission to accept donation animal control. This letter serves an official request to accept the donation in the check amount of $200 by Patricia Desmond. These funds will directly be deposited into our department's donation account and will go directly towards the care of the animals housed at Marshall Animal Shelter, cared for by Marshall Animal Control officers. I think that was it. Something I apologize for not asking you to in the last one, but Steve, do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you for the donation for both.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. You, Trish?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, move the select board vote to approve the donation of $200 for Patricia Desmond to the Marshfield Animal Control. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Let's see here. Discussion and vote on temporary liquor license application, Stellwagen Beer Company. Ask who will be in charge and what the event is for. Beer and wine only. So,
Mr. Kelly, when I wrote that on there, I wasn't aware of where this was being proposed. I didn't have your packet. I just knew generically there was a request.
so you like making a note there for yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. all right.
But now that I have Mr. Moran's packet in front of me, it looks like this is events at the Green Harbor Lobster Pound. And it looks like there's 13 events that are occurring in May, June, July, and August. Most of them look like they're either there's 1 12 to 8 p.m., then there's 3 to 8 p.m., 5 to 9 p.m., a whole bunch of different times there.
Okay.
They're all on that sheet, so.
Name of applicant is Michael Snowdale. Name of business, organization, Stellwagen Beer Company. Mailing address, 100 Enterprise Drive, Marshfield, Mass. 02050. Location of event, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 131 Beach Street, Marshfield, Mass. 02050. Description of event, pop-up beer garden at Green Harbor Lobster Pound. Wine and malt beverages only. Copy of liquor liability insurance, name of the town of Marshfield is additionally insured. Copy of tip certification for all servers. Detailed written event narrative. This event will be held outdoors. If outdoors, please include well-defined scale plan of proposed outdoor consumption area. That includes but not limited to tables, seating, access and egress restrooms. So I don't think any of those checked off, so he's not doing any of those, right? Or does it need, well, he has to provide boundaries, right?
No, so I happened to go to the Green Apple Lobster Pound last year. I was
Yep.
pleasantly surprised to see that. The select board had allowed it, and they basically sell it out of a trailer.
Yes.
And then they sit at the picnic tables, and they're congregating.
Yeah, it's not their picnic table, that's,
It's the lobster.
lobster ponds.
Yeah, so I think it just gives them the ability to have, serve some of their beer products during, when people are enjoying fried clams or lobster sandwiches.
Oh, they are showing a boundary.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, they usually, our outdoor policy for alcohol requires them to have a confined area so that we know that people that are not are underage and not drinking.
Right. So there is tables and seating, obviously. The access and egress, obviously. On the plans, it doesn't specifically say what the restrooms are, but the restrooms are in the
They do have
adjacent
the,
building.
They do have restrooms in a separate building there.
Yes, yep. And clear boundaries, barriers, and consumption areas, so they do have that outlined in regards to where you can drink your beverage. So the application was put in 5/6/2025. And the dates and times of this will take place, let me see, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., 5/25/2025, Marshfield, Green Apple Lobster Pound, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 6/24/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., 6/27/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 7/1/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 7/8/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 7/15/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 7/22/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., 7/25/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 7/29/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 8/5/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 8/12/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., 8/19/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound, and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., 8/22/2025, Marshfield, Green Harbor Lobster Pound. I think that's pretty much it, as far as I can see. Steve, do you have any questions or concerns?
No, we've seen this a couple of years in a row now. It's the same setup each year, never had a problem, so all good.
Trish, do you have any questions
No,
or
I'm good.
concerns? Okay. I don't have anything to add on. Everything looks good
The
to
only thing you
me.
typically do is make sure they provide a certificate of insurance before their first date.
Did I miss that, man?
If you grant them the one-day license, they'll have to have it, and then they'll provide. the
Oh, no,
certificate of
yeah,
insurance.
certificate of liability is right in here.
Is it here?
Is it, this it right here?
Looks like it, yeah. I just saw the tip, yep, there it is.
I do believe I read that. Did I read that in the beginning? Yeah, copy of liquor liability insurance, name and town of Marshfield, addition insured. So, we good?
Yeah, they have liquor liability insurance for a year, yep, that's perfect.
Okay. Move that the select board vote to approve the one-day beer and wine license to Stellwagen Beer Company, serve beer and wine at, and I already read the hours,
Yeah,
right? So we're
Green
good
Harbor
there?
Lobster Pound on the hours that you read.
Okay. At the hours, which I've already read, at the Green Harbor Lobster Pound in Marshfield. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
There's a maximum annual limit of 30 one-day licenses you can issue, so they're well under that still.
Okay. Discussion and vote on temporary liquor license application, North River Art Society. So the name of the applicant is Julia Driscoll, name of business organization is North River Art Society, mailing address 157 Old Main Street, P.O. Box 307, Marshfield Hills, Mass. 02051. Dates of the event, May 23rd, 24th, and 25th. Hours of event, May 23rd, 7 to 10 p.m., May 24th and 25th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Says daily there. Location of event, Old Main Street. Description of event, Annual Festival of the Arts, Block Party Style Arts Festival. Wine and malt beverages only. Copy of liquor liability insurance, name of the town of Marshfield is additionally assured. Copy of tip certification for all servers. Detailed written event narrative. This event will be held indoors and outdoors. This application was signed 5/12/2025. So we already read the dates, everything else, then that looks good. No issues from the police, I think. Says an updated map. And we got a map here showing where they are locating everything. We got the liability insurance. And the tips. I think that's it. Steve, do you have any questions or concerns?
You know, we see this every year, never had a problem with these folks, so all good.
Trish, do you have any questions or concerns?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
All right, so. Move that the select board vote to approve the one-day beer and wine license to North River Art Society to serve beer and wine at
157 Old Main Street.
Thank you. 157 Old Main Street, at the hours of May 23rd, 7 to 10 p.m., May 24th and 25th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., at the premises of Old Main Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Discussion and vote on to sign MSBA contract for designer services for Martinson Roof Project. All right. So I think these are pretty much standard in regards to all the projects that we've seen in the past, Bob, I imagine?
These are the MSBA Designer Services Standard Form Contracts. It's a state contract, and we're not, basically, it's an accepted format by all municipal attorneys, so I wouldn't be proposing any changes. They fill in the blanks and make it applicable to Marshfield.
Okay. So you're comfortable with this?
I am very comfortable with this contract. Correct.
All right. Steve, do you have any questions or comments on it?
I know, it's passed a town meeting, and they expressed their support for the MSBA Accelerated Roof Repair Project, and what's one good thing about it is that it's a standardized process all the way through to improve efficiency and speed and try to root out errors, so, we get a huge reimbursement from the Mass School Building Authority as well for going through their program. I think it's like 50%, so, and again, it passed a town meeting, so all good to move forward.
Trish, any comments, concerns? You good? Okay. I motion to move that the select board vote to sign MSBA contract for designer services for Martinson Roof Project, subject to town council review. Which town council has said he's done.
Yeah, you don't have to have town council review because I've already reviewed it.
Yes. So do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, so before you go home, did I just make sure, looks like, Eric, you're authorized to sign as the chair of the board, so
Authorized to sign the
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 contract.
MSBA,
Give that to Jenna before you go home tonight.
okay, I'll do that. Number 9. Discussion and vote request permission to utilize Avon Street parking lot for annual appreciation dinner on June 13, 2025, Molly Fitzgerald Memorial Fund. This has been an annual request for years, and it's for the after-hours use of Avon Street parking lot. So dear Select Board, on behalf of the Molly Fitzgerald Memorial Fund, I would like to request a parking permit on Friday, June 13, 2025. We are having our annual appreciation dinner to honor our sponsors and volunteers. It is being held at Tim Tedeschi's house at 7 Bay Avenue, Duxbury, Mass. I am requesting use of the Avon Street parking lot for this function. Parking will start at 6 p.m. and end approximately around 11:30 p.m. If you need any further information from me, please feel free to contact me. Doreen Cosano, Board of Directors, Molly Fitzgerald Memorial Fund. Steve, do you have any questions or comments?
You know, we see
Concerns?
this every year. We've never had an issue, and it's a very positive, nice event for a nonprofit that's, turned a tragedy into making some positive impact for the community. So I am all in favor for it.
Trish, any comments, concerns?
Good.
Okay. I move that the Select Board vote to permit the Molly Fitzgerald Memorial Fund to utilize Avon Street parking lot for annual appreciation dinner on June 13, 2025, after ordinary beach hours. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Number 10, discussion and vote on appointment of opioid fund committee, Trish Simpson. Yes. Former Select Board member Lynn Phillips served on the opioid fund committee as a Select Board member designated role seat on the committee. Select Board Clerk Trish Simpson expressed interest in filling that vacancy, so please consider appointing Trish Simpson to the opioid fund committee to fulfill the vacancy of the Select Board member seat. So, any questions or comments, Steve?
Sure, yeah. No, I think it'll be great because at our last meeting, you talked about how this issue has personally impacted you and your family with your cousin. And so I think that's a great fit and something you'll obviously be very passionate about. And you would have done a good job anyway, but it's nice to have that extra juice and extra motivator when something is so personal to you as well. And so I think from that standpoint, it'll be great, but will also be great too is you have someone in your life who's seen firsthand the effect of the opioid crisis on our community. So you'll probably have some great ideas to bounce off of each other and kind of think about maybe what might be a good idea to propose, what to tinker with and stuff like that. So, I mean, from just a personal standpoint and then a practical standpoint, I think it'll work out well. And, finding a project you're passionate about at all on the board is great, but to find one early is even better. And what's great about it is not only is it very fulfilling work, but I promise you that during the turbulent times on the board that will come, that it kind of keeps you going because you have something to look forward to and a light at the end of the tunnel. So it helps you kind of get through those bumpy times, but it's fulfilling work. It's a great thing. So good luck.
Any comments for yourself? Yeah.
I did want to mention that Dan Mahoney that spoke, I think it was our
Yeah,
last
last week,
meeting.
yeah.
Yes, I've been in touch with him as well, and so if appointed, I've asked him to come along with me, and, he's very passionate as well about it, so.
So come along, does he want to be a member on the committee?
Well,
or-
I'm not sure, but at least I'll know when the meetings are, and he can attend, and.
Okay, I got you saying. All right, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it, and I wish you well, and I'm sure everybody will be happy, everybody that's already there that attends will be happy to have you on board, so, without a doubt. So, okay, move the Select Board vote to select Trish Simpson and appoint her to the opioid fund committee to fill the vacancy of the Select Board member seat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye.
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 Okay, vote to accept open session minutes, April 14th, May 5th, 2025, and May 12th, 2025. So, Trish, I think you were here for May 12th, am I correct?
Yes.
So the 14th and the 5th? No, actually, you were here the 5th too, right? So Steve, so I'll propose the 14th, because that was just you and me, right? And so, and Lynn is not here anymore, so, vote to accept open session minutes, April 14th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Abstain.
And then, vote to accept open session minutes, May 5th, 2025, and May 12th, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I believe that concludes our meeting. So I would like to motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Everybody have a good night.